So basically we were talking about B, read from the text file, get the data, and then store them in an array, then display them. Okay, so this is where we stopped. So we were actually deciding, okay, so now parts, we split it there. Instead of having this, let's see what happens if we just place append it right there. Append and then paste it in here. Okay, so once we append that, um, instead of actually creating another variable again called names, let's just append whatever directly from this position. Okay, so we take mark and then we put it in there. All right, so we get rid of this whole statement here, and then in this regard we are saying um, names array um, will now be equal to mark for this example. Okay, and then of course we want marks to be appended, so we are saying append, and then we can obviously put in mark, or if we want, perhaps we can directly insert. Okay, let's try that mark first. Let's see what happens. Okay, usually the reason why we do it that way is because okay, let's I want you to see the error actually that will happen if you don't do it the way that I was doing it. All right, so let's put in mark there. Okay, and then what we want this function to do is I want it to return, and we want it to return, and what must it return? It must return names, which is the array that we declared. It must also return marks. Okay, once it does that, then we are going to create variables again. Let me say two arrays called names, and then comma marks, and then we are saying we are going to be making that equal to read, because remember this function is simply going to get it's going to return names, so that it stores it in that, and then it's going to return marks, and then it's going to store it in that. That's why we put the comma there. Okay, so once we do that, then we can simply print. And what are we printing? We are printing let's say names, and then comma, and then names. Okay, and then print something like this, and then we say maybe marks, and then this will be marks. Okay, let's see if this will work. If we run this, that's definitely going to bring us names, and then the array for names, and then marks, the array for marks. So basically we don't need this. If we do this, let's take this out, delete marks, and then delete this mark here, and just go straight forward and do that. So what we are saying is, if this works, very good, then we don't need to create variables anymore. Okay, the thing is, it's just good coding skills for you to actually create variables. All right, so that is the solution for that question. All right, so now if we move on to the next one, it says here, get the values and add them, and add a comment from the teacher according to the given criteria, then add them to the text file next to each result. Okay, so basically what we want is, let's get this text file here, just so I can explain what we want, what we are trying to say here. What we want is, we want to get the file, and then next to each we need to put excellent, very good, or good, depending on what their score is. So if this child got 20, this child must get 20. Yeah, good. If this child got 25, then this child must get very good. And if this child got 37, must get excellent. And then this child got 23, so this child must only get good. And then this child gets 22, so that is also still good. This is what we want. This is what we want the file to store. Okay, so that means we want the file to store that data. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Okay, so to do this, uh, we are seriously going to get, first we are going to create a function. Okay, this function is going to be called get comment. Or if you want, we can even just call it comment. Okay, and the comment, we are going to put in a mark. Okay, we're going to pass in a mark. Okay, so now this function, we're going to have an if statement. If 30 less than or equal to mark less than or equal to 37, then what are we doing? We are going to return excellent. Okay, right. So now if that is the case, then we need to have an elif. So if elif 25, this is a new way of doing the if statement, putting the value in there instead of writing the value over and over and over. Okay, so this is the condition, just like it was in the problem. And if that is the case, then we need to return, what are we returning? We are returning good. Okay, then we have an elif again, and this time we are saying if 20 is less than 20, less than mark, if mark is less than or equal to 20 or less than or equal to 24, okay, so basically we are saying the mark must be greater than 20 or equal to 20. Then if it's less than or equal to 24, then we must return average, but that's not what we want. Actually, we want it to return, this one is supposed to be very good, sorry, that's supposed to be very good, and then this one is just supposed to be good. Okay, so if that is the case, then if none of those conditions are met, then we are going to have an else, and then else will return, what are we going to return? No comment, because they did not write anything. We're just gonna say no comment. Okay, because this child has probably failed or something. Okay, anyway, so that is the one. Now we need because we need to write whatever we do then, okay, so before we do that, so we are going to create a new function, and this function is going to be called update or add comments. Comment student file. Okay, and what are we going to pass in here? We're going to pass in here names, comma, marks. Oh, okay, sorry, because remember, uh, uh, we are supposed to actually get the array there. Okay, so basically we need to read from there, and then we get the values from their names. Okay, so this is done there, isn't it? Okay, so once that is done, let's see. Since the arrays are now created there, don't delete this. You must always, because this was what we did last time. We read, we returned them, and we stored them in an array. So now, going forward, we are going to create a new function called def comment student file, and then we are going to pass names inside here. Okay, name and marks, because we got the names and the marks here in this array, and then we put them in here. So the moment we do that, then we are saying with with open. Now we want to open, what are we opening? We are opening the students.txt. Now, once we open this, we want to open it in a writing mode. Remember, because we want to write to this file, and we want to give them a comment. Okay, so depending on their result. Okay, this is as a file. Never forget, as a file. Okay. Now we said for I in range length of names. Okay, because depending on how many names we are, that's what we are going to do. Okay, and then we want to comment equals to, now here comments is going to store a comment, right? But it needs to be, it needs to determine what type of comment. So what we are going to do is we're going to call the function comment, and this function is called marks. And then we're gonna say marks position I. Okay, so basically we are saying if you go to the marks array, you are going to the marks array. What is in the first array? You see, we look at this one. It's actually 4. You know what? Let's copy them so that they are visible for you to see, because it makes it easier for me to explain this. Okay, so now if we look at this position, so we are saying marks position I is 20. Now we want to pass the 20 into this function. This function is called comment. And then 20 goes in here, and then it compares the 20 to that, and then it finds that this is actually good. So now we have comment. Comment is now storing good. So we are saying comment is now equal to good. Okay. Okay. So now, if that is the case, so this is a variable, and it's stored now comment, and we are calling a function comment. Let's put an S there just to give it a different name from the function name. Comments or current comment, let's just say current comment. Yes, current comment is now containing this comment, which is 20. Okay, then we are saying file.write. We need to write to the file. So we are saying file.write. And what are we writing to this file? Okay, what we are writing to this file is, we are basically saying F, and then we put the quotes in there, and I'm just going to type that so that you can see that we write our concatenation in this way. So that's name position I, marks position I, and then current comment, and then to the new line. So basically what we want is, we want now to write this, and then we go to the next line. And that means right now we are going to write good, and then first we are going to write mark, and then 20, and then good next to it. And the fact that we have a space in here, it will also insert the space in the text file. Okay, right now the file looks like this. We want to modify that. Okay, so now we put that in, and then now we go back up here, and then we say we are going to call onto the function. What is the function called? Comment student file. And what are we going to pass in here? We're going to pass in here, because we are supposed to pass in variables, names, comma, marks, right? So that's what we are going to pass in there, because we want to get in the arrays and then pass them in there, because we already got them from the text file, and then we reread the file. Okay, let's find out if this is actually going to work. So we run it up, and we have an error. Okay, so what is the error? Okay, name error comment student file. Okay, which line? Comment. Oh, comment is supposed to have 2 M's. Okay, so there's the mistake there. Yes. Okay, so if we run this, perfect. If we open the file, there is the file with the goods. Okay, now we don't want it to be with the s, so we need to get rid of this. So get rid of the s there, because we actually want to deal with the current file that is already existing. Okay, so run. Let's see if it will work. Yes. So if I open this, you will see that it has now generated the list. If we compare that to that, it's exactly what we expected. So that is how you write this program. Okay, so guys, there's an exercise for you guys to do on the portal. Please complete it. Uh, but obviously, it's not going to be using the student details. It's going to be using a different situation. Please complete that exercise. Thank you very much.